Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. In today's video we're going to be swatching out and comparing the Payne's Grey watercolors that I have. Now Payne's Grey is one of those paints that some people love and some people hate. Many times I've read people telling beginner watercolor painters not to use it. Maybe they're right. It does have a really large drying shift, so you have to apply it much darker than you might think. And it's also pretty easy to mix your own with ultramarine and burnt sienna. And also some people just don't like using a black pigment in their paintings. Personally, I love Payne's Grey and I use it in pretty much every painting I do. Okay, let's start swatching. So first up is a student grade paint. This one is Winsor & Newton Cotman Payne's Grey. This one is made from a 3-pigment mix of PBK7, which is carbon black, PB29, which is ultramarine blue, and PB15, which is phthalo blue. So even though this is a student grade paint, I find it okay to use. I've got a couple of big 21ml tubes of this that I picked up for cheap, and I like to use it for value studies. I do wish it was a bit bluer though, like the professional artist grade Winsor & Newton. Okay, next up is Van Gogh Payne's Grey. So this is another student grade paint, and it's a 2-pigment mix this time. It's made from PBK6, which is lamp black, and PV19, which is quinacridone violet. Yeah, in my opinion, this is another pretty good Payne's Grey. I think I like this one a bit more than the Cotman. Probably when the Cotman runs out, I'll use this one for my value studies instead. Next up is Rembrandt Payne's Grey. And this one is also a 2-pigment mix. It's made from PBK6 lamp black and PB15 phthalo blue. So this is the Payne's Grey I use most often in my palette at the moment. And really I've been very happy with it. It does the job just fine for me. Yeah, it's a pretty good Payne's Grey in my opinion. Though, yeah, I guess I would prefer it to be a little bit bluer. Next we have Holbein Payne's Grey. So this one's a 3-pigment mix. It's PBK6 lamp black, PB15 phthalo blue, and PR122 quinacridone magenta. This is quite a new paint to me. I just got it a few days ago, and it was the last tube in the shop. It came in the old shape Holbein tube, and yeah, I get the feeling it had been sitting in the shop for quite a few years. But it seems okay, I think. I think I can see a bit of a problem with the paper that I'm painting on. Can you see those 2 white blobs there? It's kind of, yeah, maybe damaged a bit. I got this paper about 2 years ago and it's just been sitting in a hot, humid room ever since then. I'm actually surprised it's not in worse condition, to be honest. Okay, next we have Mijello Mission Gold Payne's Grey. This is a mix of PB15-3, which is phthalo blue green shade, PV19, which is quinacridone violet, and PBK7, which is carbon black. I must say I do like this Payne's Grey. I'm always saying that I want my Payne's Grey to be more blue, and yeah, this one is very blue. Maybe a bit too blue for some. Yeah, I quite like it. And next we have Schmincke Horridam Payne's Grey. This is a mix of PR101, which is synthetic red iron oxide, PB29, which is ultramarine blue, and PBK7, which is carbon black. You can see right away how different this is from the others. Yeah, I think of it more as a neutral tint rather than a Payne's Grey. So if you've seen my Schmincke watching video, you'll know that the Schmincke neutral tint has a very red undertone. I mean, this watercolors, it's very nice to paint out and it's fine as a black, but yeah, it's not something I'd use as a Payne's Grey. Next we have another Schmincke paint. This is Schmincke Horridam Payne's Grey Bluish. And it's a mix of PBK6 Lamp Black, PB15-6, which is Phthalo Blue Red shade, and PB15-2, which is another Phthalo Blue. And this is definitely more my kind of Payne's Grey. Yeah, it's lovely and blue. Definitely much better for me than the other Schmincke. Oh, unfortunately, I can see there's more damage to the paper. Those two white blobs again. This one's a bit more green leaning than the Mijello, but actually I quite like that. Yeah, I think this could possibly be my future Payne's Grey of choice. I do wish it wasn't so expensive here though. Okay, and the final Payne's Grey I have here is from Szmal. This is a mix of PBK9, which is ivory black, PB27, which is Prussian blue, and PR264, which is Pyrrole Rubin. Okay, this Payne's Grey looks fine to me, although again I'd like it to be a little bit bluer maybe. It looks really, really dark now, but yeah, it's going to dry much, much lighter. Okay, that's all of them painted out. And here they are when completely dry. Wow, there's a lot of variety here. And definitely, yeah, huge drying shifts all around, but that's expected from Payne's Greys. I mean, that's one of the big problems that people have with Payne's Grey often. You really have to get to know the one that you want to use so that you can judge how much lighter it's going to dry. So both the student grade paints are okay and they're perfectly usable, but I do feel that the artist grades are quite a bit nicer actually. I do like the Rembrandt and the Holbein. The Holbein, yeah, has more of a texture to it. I'm not really sure where that comes from though. I do think the Mijello is very nice, and very blue, of course. Yeah, like I said, it might be a bit too blue. I'm not really a fan of the Schmincke Payne's Grey at all. Yeah, it's just too grey, or too black, should I say. The Payne's Grey Bluish, on the other hand, is really nice, exactly what I want in a Payne's Grey. And finally, the Szmal. Yeah, I quite like this one too. If it was a little bit bluer, it would probably be perfect for me. So there you go. I was actually quite surprised that they were all so different. I mean, I probably shouldn't have been surprised because each brand uses a different mix of pigments to make their Payne's Greys. I'm sure you can already guess which is my favourite, but which one is your favourite? I'm really impressed with the Schmincke Payne's Grey Bluish. It's blue, but it's still clearly a grey, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. Whereas looking at like the Mijello, yeah, it's more of a blue than it is a grey. So are you a Payne's Grey user? Are there any other brands of Payne's Grey you recommend I try? Thank you all for watching. I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye bye.